Hey everybody. Today, Rahdo runs down a prototype of Escape Plan, which is a very heavy Euro-style game where 1 to 5 players take on the role of master criminals trying to get out of town within 3 days before the law catches up with them. And the way it works is, on each of those days, we're going to go through several different phases. First, there's income. Then the cops tighten their patrol grid. We reveal patrol cars. Then we build up the city by, in turn order, placing tiles out to give ourselves more opportunities to travel around. Then we, based on our notoriety, adjust turn order. And then the real crux of the game is phase 5, where we take turns to run around the city and collect money from all the different establishments, the businesses and whatnot, that we have invested our ill-gotten gains in. Because we're trying to get out of town, but we're trying to get out of town with as much money in our pocket as possible. And so, here we are in the third turn. We start out with morning and then daytime and then evening actions. We're about to do evening actions on the first day. After this is over, if anybody has special resources, we can do nighttime and early dawn actions as well. But right now, we're here at nighttime, and here's the turn order. First of all, we've got the police captain Sandra, who in a 2-player game chases the players around to tighten the board up a little bit. So let's see where she's going to go. She is going to go to the nightclub. Okay, so now we have special rules about traveling around, but since she is a police captain, she can go wherever she wants, whenever she wants. So she's coming out to this nightclub that's out in the middle of this lake. Now, as it says here, her notoriety increases by 1. Although that doesn't lock in until later, so we just temporarily mark that it's going to increase later on. And she puts one of her control cubes in the nightclub. And now, in a 2-player game, once 2 players or a player and the police captain have visited a location, that location gets locked down. And I'm very happy that right out of the gate, I started and rushed over here to the nightclub because, as it happens, the nightclub on my secret escape plan card is the most valuable place. Oh, I'm sorry, not the nightclub. The bar is the most valuable place for me to go. I went there and I scored $90,000 that I will carry out with me at the end of the game. It's interesting. Depending on where you go, you can get in-game points or you can get income to have short-term money to be able to help you travel around the city. I opted for some in-game points because I didn't want to lose out on that $90,000, and I'm glad I did because now that a second character is visited here, it's locked, and my opponent Jen can't get in because the nightclub has been closed down. However, she still has a chance. If she has keys, she can use them to get in through the back door to visit if she wants to. But you know what? Her escape plan might tell her that visiting the bar is totally worthless and not worth her time. Well, you don't know that because that's all secret. Anyway, so Sandra visited here. She shut the place down. She increased her notoriety, and she arrested 2 of our contacts. So the snitch and the opportunity to bribe. These were opportunities we could have had. They're gone. So they just get added to all the other stuff Sandra has gotten rid of, and new ones slide out. And now it is my turn. And here's where the rubber hits the road. Currently, I'm over here at the movie studio. I've already cleared it out. You can see I've made my mark there. Again, as soon as somebody else visits the studio, it's going to get shut down too. And I've got to decide where I'm going to go. But I've got a problem. In this region, there is a SWAT team and there's an FBI team looking for me. And if I leave this tile to come over here to this exit or come over here to the hospital, if I leave this tile, they will potentially wound me on the way out. Now, if you look over here on my own private board, where I keep track of all the resources I've collected, including what my income is. So far, I've recruited a ninja who can help me out in a tough spot, and I can call for a medevac whenever I need it. So I've got these in my back pocket, or my briefcase is what this actually is, but I don't want to use them right yet. Although this would be a time to use the ninja, that would actually prevent me from taking any damage from the FBI. But I'd still take damage from the SWAT team. So I think I've got a plan. Instead of leaving this tile to go somewhere else and potentially run afoul of them, if I just show my head, just kind of poke out of the movie studio and move here to this industrial area, and then very quickly, just as quickly, move back in to this biker gang hangout, then they didn't see me. I only get hit by the cops if I leave a region they're in. So they can be really problematic to move around because if you take too many wounds, you will eventually start getting these handcuff cards that close off a major portion of your board. You permanently lose assets, you permanently lose the ability to get more contacts. So that's a bad thing. You don't want that to happen. So you have to be careful about what the cops. But anyway, since I moved out and moved in so quickly, before they saw me, I did not have to run afoul. And now, after you're done moving, and by the way, when you're moving, you can spend 1, 2, or 3 movement points normally. So I could have gone, say, 1 to get on the water. And once I'm on the water, I could travel anywhere on the water. And then 2, I would say I'd be on this residential area. And then 3, I could have run over here. But doing that meant I would have run afoul of these guys. And but I would have made it over to the safe house, because who knows? Maybe that safe house is going to get closed down before too long. Anyway, though, I'm just popping out, popping back in. And when I visit a gang hideout, I spend $5 of my money. And this is me throwing points away, but I get to recruit 2 gang members. So I'm going to throw away. I'm down to only 4,000 cash in hand. That could be a problem for me later. But I'm going to recruit these 2 gang members because they'll help me out. They can run interference with the cops. They can steal helicopters to get me around. They can reduce my notoriety, all kinds of stuff. So I also take one of my little gang control markers and put it here as a reminder that I control this gang. These 2 guys are in my back pocket, and whenever I want, I can use them to lose notoriety, fly up to 2 tiles from a helipad, because they'll steal a chopper for me, or ignore all police officers in 1 tile. So now that I've got them, later on, I can move out of here and sacrifice one of them, so that I can get away safely and not take any more damage. So this was me spending a turn, spending some resources, so that I've got resources that will help me out in the future. And that was my turn. And that's really the lion's share of this game. This is, you could almost think of it as like a slow-moving worker placement game where you only have 1 worker and you can only move to kind of nearby spaces. You can move up to 3 times. 1, 2, 3 to get over here to the hospital, where I can spend money to get healed up. Although if I go to the hospital, my notoriety will increase because the doctors report, hey, there's a guy with a gunshot wound who showed up. Anyway, so that was everybody taking their turn, and now we look to see if anybody's notoriety has changed. The police lieutenants has, but Jen's and mine haven't. And now, if anybody has any nighttime actions they've earned, they could do more stuff in the night. And if nobody does, we go on ahead and we skip forward to day number 2, where everybody resets if they've rested, and we get more income, and we start spreading the city out bigger, and the cops tighten the noose around our necks even more. That's the crux of the game. Dealing with some upkeep every day for over the 3 days, and then doing 3 to 5 actions, depending on if you can do late night and early morning actions, to travel around and basically collect all the money that you've invested into all these businesses all over the city. We've got 3 days to get as much money as possible out. Either get money for in-game points or get short-term cash infusions from other places, and be sure that on the 3rd day, we've collected as much as we can. We've also potentially recruited a lot of contacts. We've earned more assets that can help us. We've potentially bought more equipment that we might be able to use. We might have even hired fixers who can do things like give us a disguise to get away from the cops or what have you. Or if we use these keys not to get into locked areas like I was talking about, instead, we can use these keys to get into lockers where we might find some more cash for the end game as well that we can score. We've got 3 days, and on the 3rd day, by the time the city is all exposed and there's only 1 exit available, that's where we start having to burn cash like crazy to get out of town with the most money still in our pockets. Because we're at the end of a game, whoever got away and has the most money is the winner of Escape Plan. And that is the rundown, folks. Like I said right up front, this is a big, heavy, complex game, but it is also very, very thematically grounded, like all of the games from designer Vito Lasarda. Really, really sharp, fun. The core mechanism of this quasi-worker placement of just moving your worker around, worrying about whether space is going to be available to you later without spending more resources, also worrying about where other players are, because if you move to the same area as other players, your notoriety increases. And that could be a good thing because it gives you more resources. It's also a bad thing because the higher your notoriety, the more the cops will chase you. They will actually move from one region to another and chase you down, and that could give your opponents an opportunity to squeak by sight unseen. It's a sharp, fun game. Again, very deep, very heavy, a big, long, rich Euro simulation of the life of a master criminal. That's Escape Plan, folks. And have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.